Hi friends, welcome back to Three Barrow Farm and to my kitchen once again because it is raining and windy outside once again. But the weekend is looking like it is going to be amazingly warm. We're going to have a 22-degree day on Saturday and 26 on Sunday. So I will be in my garden on the weekend. And as I've mentioned before, I'm doing vlogtober this month. And so today I'm going to do some cooking. I need to use up some of these cauliflowers and I need to also use up some cabbages as well. So I'm going to be cutting up these cauliflowers and processing them in my Thermomix to make some soups. I shall pop the ingredients down below that I have used for these soups. So I'm looking at experimenting a little bit and making up my own recipe. First thing I need to do is weigh these cauliflowers because I have been taking note on all of the weights of the broccolis and cauliflowers and cabbages that have been coming in from my garden this year. So this one is 1.553. So that's a 1.5 kilo cauliflower. It's not as big as my biggest one. My biggest one was 2.3, but you can see this one, it's starting to sprout out. So eventually these florets, they separate and then the flowers come out from these. So it'll eventually be this massive plant of flowers on this stem if I left it to go to seed. And as it got older as well, it sort of got a bit of a purple tinge to it as it grew. You know, it's perfectly fine to use, but you can see here how they're separating, and all of these little flower heads here will create flowers, and the bees would absolutely love this. It would just be absolutely covered in flowers. But yeah, I'm harvesting them before they go that far. So this one isn't as big and it will never get as big as that one. But you can sort of see that this one's a little bit further along with the flower making. It's separating out. This one here is 636 grams. So just over half a kilo. And I have still got some of the leaves on these. I'm done making my green powders from these leaves, so I will take these out to the chickens today. They'll really enjoy having some green leaves to munch on. Now I have some stems left over from the fritters that I made the other night. So the fritters are cooked for a very short time. So just using the tops of the florets are best, but I can use the stems in the soup because I'm going to be cooking the soup for a longer period of time. Don't forget to eat the stems of these vegetables because they have nutrients in them as well. However, I'm not going to be eating this woody part of the plant because that would be quite inedible, really. It's very, very tough down there. So I'm going to probably cut it to about here and we'll eat all of that. So while I'm chopping this up, I was thinking yesterday I should mention to say thank you for all your wonderful comments about Jackie. I'm so grateful that she is okay. And so many of you have gotten in touch saying that you've also had a Jack Russell that has been bitten by a snake and unfortunately you've lost your Jack Russell to a snake bite, and that is incredibly sad and would be incredibly hard. I know that I lost sleep for 2 nights worrying about Jackie, and we're just very, very lucky. Very lucky indeed. They just like sticking their noses in holes and in between things. They're always looking for something, and I guess that's in their breed. They were bred to hunt down mice and rats in hay stacks and on farms. So that's the type of breed we're looking at here. And yeah, we've just got to be careful from now on throughout the spring, summer and autumn. The only time I feel like we can relax a little bit is winter time. Even then, I have heard of animals and people being bitten by snakes. So it's just something that we have to deal with here in Australia. And I'm not worried and I don't live my life in worry. I would much rather live out here in the country than live in the city and be, further away from the possibility of snakes. But having said that, when we lived in Melbourne, we had snakes in our backyard. So they're around. This is their country. So we've just got to be mindful of that. Okay, so in this soup, we've got 2 garlic cloves. We've got a chunk of turmeric, fresh and fresh ginger. I've got 1 teaspoon of chilli powder that I grew and made myself. I've got ground cumin, but I would have preferred to have had the seeds and ground it up with all of these other seeds. So I've got peppercorns, cumin, salt, and coriander seeds. So I'm going to whisk these up in the Thermomix first. Then I'm going to add the cauliflower into the bowl and the vegetable stock as well. And then I'm going to cook it. So as I said before, I'm going to put the recipe in the description below. Okay, I still have this much cauliflower left. I haven't even cut into this big massive one. So I'm going to do a few batches of this soup so I have plenty to put away in the freezer. And I'm really excited about this because I am running out of freezer meals now, seeing as though we're being sick, and I'm looking forward to restocking all the meals again. Now I could also put this in a big pot and cook it up as well, but I haven't started my fire today yet, so I'll just use the Thermomix. It doesn't use too much power, and surprisingly our batteries are pretty happy today, so that's good. And here is the cauliflower soup, all ready to eat. I think we're going to be eating some of the cauliflower soup for dinner tonight. I'm just going to pop all of this cauliflower into a bowl because I'm going to cut up the cabbage and do a small batch of sauerkraut. Now, I'm hoping to go outside soon and perhaps get another cabbage to add to it. All right, just going to check how much cabbage I have here, and then that will determine how much salt I put on this. All right, I have 250 grams, so not much. But let's start with this because I've only got one fermenting jar really to use. So we'll work with this and then we'll make more if I have more room. So it's normally 3 teaspoons of salt to 1 kilo of cabbage. So I'm putting 1/4 of that in, and then we just massage it. So you just want to keep massaging it until liquid starts coming out of the cabbage, and I'm pretty much there. So I think I have a break in the weather. I'm going to go out and grab another cabbage. All right, it is very windy out there. I picked this beautiful cabbage. It's got this little one coming out at the side so I can cut this up and use it as well. Well, let's see how much this weighs. So it weighs 1.174. So it's just over 1 kilo, but by the time I take out this stem, I think it'll be about around the 1 kilo mark. So I'm going to put this into one whole jar, hopefully. Maybe we'll get 2 jars out of this. Okay, I got a little bit less than a kilo, so I'm just adding some more salt into this mixture. All right, so I'm going to massage this in until I get more liquid coming out and then pack it into the jars. Okay, I grabbed some of the leaves from the other cabbage plants, the ones that are going to seed, and I've just taken the spine out of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold them up like so. And I've got all of the cabbage under the liquid space, and I think I'll add a little bit more in to this jar. But what I'm going to do is pop the leaf in there to keep all of the cabbage under the water. So you can see that it's started to, the salt in the mixture has started to bring the water out of the cabbage, and this leaf is keeping it all down. But what I want is for this leaf to be pushed down a bit by the lid that I'm going to put on top. So I'm going to put a little bit more into this jar, and then I've got another jar to fill up as well. Now this one isn't as full, but it's going to be a bit of an experiment to see how this one goes, because I also don't have a proper fermentation lid to go on this one. So for this jar, I'll pop the rubber ring. So this is an old rubber ring, and these old ones are good for using for this sort of thing. So I'll pop that on top. Then I'm going to pop this special lid that I got from Fowler's on top, and then I'm going to clip it in place like so. And then with this thing here, I'm going to put some water in the top here, just up to this maximum line just along here, and then I'm going to pop it inside the jar there. And this one is going to ferment away, both of them will ferment away for 1 week. This one here, I'm just going to pop this on here. I might find a little weight that I can put on top of this. Maybe one of my other smaller jars I can put inside this jar and keep that cabbage weighted down on top. All right, so I've filled it up with water, And these 2 jars are going to sit in a dark, cool area of the house for 1 week. And then after that, they are ready to consume, or you can put them in the fridge until you're ready to eat them. They will live in the fridge until you've consumed all of it. And here is what I have left over from the last batch that I did. So this one was chopped up a little bit thicker than this one here. So you can see the color change in both of these. I would say that this cabbage wasn't as green as this one, but as you can see, it changes color in the fermentation process. And this is absolutely delicious. I love to add it on top of my salads or my bowls for lunch that I make myself. And yeah, it's a really great addition. Fantastic for you to have, full of probiotics for you to consume each day. So I'd really like to get more of these lids so I can have more of these jars going like this. And I'm interested to see how this one goes without. I think I used to do it this way and it turned out perfectly fine, but doing it this way is just a little bit more safe, I guess. Thank you again so much for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to getting into the garden on the weekend, so I shall see you out there then. Bye for now.